Hi, my name's Steve Green, and I'm here to talk about an issue of Rollins Pass and Boulder Wagon Road. The Boulder Wagon Road was a main route over the Front Range predating European settlement. The Native Americans used that route to go over to Middle Park from the Front Range over to Hot Sulphur Springs, which was a popular winter spa way back when. But later it was enlarged by the cavalry when Mormon people were trying to get to Salt Lake City. So Mormons were coming across country to find Salt Lake City or get there. And after that, it became a toll road. A gentleman named Rollins made the Boulder Wagon Road into a toll road. But then after that, they wanted to put a train over, and Moffett built a train route over the divide very close to the Boulder Wagon Road. So what you have is two roads. One is a vehicle or a wagon road, one is a train route, which later became a road, and they both cross the Front Range at the same place. And they go from Rollinsville to Winter Park. They basically go over the top of where the Moffett Tunnel is today. And the intent of the law was to specifically leave those open. And we've been fighting with Boulder County and the Boulder Ranger District, which is a division of the Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service, to observe the law, but we haven't been getting very far. But we have been making progress, but still the roads remain closed. Currently the two roads are closed in contradiction to the federal law that was approved by Congress, signed by George Bush. And what we have is a road corridor that was left between the James Peak Wilderness Area and the Indian Peaks Wilderness Area, and that road corridor was specifically designated to remain open. The intent of the James Peak Wilderness Law was that road corridor should remain open. That is in the words of Senator Mark Udall's office, and he was the sponsor of this bill. However, the Boulder Ranger District and the Boulder County Commissioners have taken it on their own to keep these roads closed in spite of the fact that Grand and Gilpin County want these roads open. It's been over 20 years that we've been involved with trying to get these roads open. During the creation of the wilderness, they specifically left, and I'd say they would be the Senator, Boulder County, Gilpin County, and Grand County, specifically left a corridor called a road corridor. And this is, I have direct emails here from the Senator, Udall. His aide, Doug Young, has written me and told me exactly what was left and why it was left, the intent of the law. And the intent of the law was to leave a road corridor open that goes right through here. This is the Indian Peaks Wilderness in orange, and this unusual shape is the James Peak Wilderness. And there is a Boulder Wagon Road goes through here, and so does the Rollins Pass Road. Now, Grand and Gilpin have consistently written the Secretary of the United States Department of Agriculture, who's above the United States Forest Service, asking for the Needles Eye Tunnel to be repaired and the Rollins Road to be reopened. They have received no response. Boulder commissioners have stood in the way, and the Boulder Ranger District have stood in the way, even though they signed on and agreed to the wilderness law, which left the road corridor open. They really don't have the right to do this. They already were through the review and approval phase of this federal law, yet they continue to maintain that they have the right to keep these roads closed. There's many people who disagree with them, and we are currently trying to persuade Boulder to get on board. 3 weeks ago, Ben Perlman, one of the commissioners here in Boulder, made some statements which indicate to me that he does not want to follow the federal law. Ben Perlman said, even though the law is already written, the agreements are already made, he says, we have a long way to go in resolving these issues. But if all those issues can be resolved to our satisfaction, then we can really start talking about whether it makes sense. The project could face much public scrutiny on the east side of the divide. A large number of Boulder County constituents worry opening up the area to through traffic could entice off-roaders to forge trails in the wilderness. Now keep in mind, this was all worked out. When these wilderness areas were created, they were created to exclude off-roaders, motorized vehicles, mechanized vehicles. So Mr. Perlman is trying to apply the wilderness rule to the road corridor. The road corridor was excluded from this area, both in boundary and in the law, in the writing. And yet, we're still having to go head-to-head with Boulder County on this. And I know Grand and Gilpin are totally in favor of opening these roads. The Boulder Wagon Road is supposed to be open at this date, according to Congress. The Rollins Pass Road, they say the tunnel has caved in. It's often misquoted and misrepresented. The tunnel has not caved in. It's not a very good picture. It's kind of dark in the tunnel. But this is the tunnel. Inside, this is the Needle's Eye Tunnel up above in Rollins Pass. And it's been closed since '92. It's been barricaded by the Forest Service. I'm not sure if Boulder County did the barricade, but one of the two groups did the barricade. And there's no cave-in in the tunnel, contrary to what many people say. There are rocks in the last 20 years that have fallen down the road. They're not so large that a pickup truck couldn't drive over them. They're rocks, just accumulated debris. The other thing that's cited often by Commissioner Perlman and other opponents to opening these roads is that the impact of the tundra. This is the Boulder Wagon Road. This road is well over 150 years old. You can see here's the tundra on each side. This is a 1910 photo of the Boulder Wagon Road. You'll have to come closer to see it. It's basically the same road. There is not off-road trails extending off of the Boulder Wagon Road. The impact, if there was an impact with increased use, could very easily be mitigated with post and cabling. We have people ready to contribute their time and money to do that. The four-wheel drive clubs who have already do that around Jenny Lake. Jenny Lake has been posted, Yankee Doodle Lake has been posted and cabled by the Rising Sun Four-Wheel Drive Club with the blessing of the Forest Service, and it's perfectly well done. So everything's in place to solve these problems. However, there seems to be a movement in Boulder County, at least amongst the officials in Boulder County, to keep this closed in spite of what they agreed on prior to the enactment of the wilderness bills. So it's kind of like you make a deal and then you don't observe it. I know this comes across strong. I don't mean it to be, it's not personal. But I have been accused of being kind of combative on this. So I don't mean it to be that way. But I do want to say that I feel very strongly that the U.S. Congress approved this and everybody signed on to it, and I wish they would follow what they signed and not try to rewrite it after the fact. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So what's the process of enforcement?
Right now, there really is very little enforcement. I don't know anybody who's gotten a ticket. I don't know anybody who's crossed there. There could be clandestine vehicles going across.
Are there trails that cross over the tunnel? Or?
No, there's the original road, which predates the railroad. The original road is a wagon road. It was originally a trail, and then it became a wagon road, and then it became a road for motorized vehicles. Because trains can't negotiate anything higher than 4% grade. The train bed, where the train track ran, was put in about 1898 and finished, I think, in 1906. And it opened in 1906. And that's a kind of two roads that run parallel and cross the divide at the same place.
So one of them goes through the Needle's Eye, the other one doesn't.
One of them goes right over the top of the saddle, adjacent to the Needle's Eye. Matter of fact, you can see them in my pictures. Let's see. Here's the Boulder Wagon Road is here, and that's Needle's Eye Tunnel there. They both cross the high point of the divide within 300 feet of each other, 200 feet.
And one is still open. It's still possible?
It's very ambiguous because federal law interpretation says it's open. Locally, the Boulder Ranger District and the Boulder County Commissioners have insisted it's closed for many different reasons, for all types of excuses. Yes.
I have two questions. One, who does this benefit exactly? I mean, in terms of selling it to people, who's going to say, wow, I want that to happen?
Well, first of all, this was open until '92, or right around there, to cars. I drove over this in my car legally, and many people did back in the '80s.
If you're going where? So how does
Winter Park. Go to Winter Park.
So how does that help you? If I want to go to Winter Park to snowboard, how is that going to help?
Well, it helps people by giving them access to their public lands. Everybody has a different reason to have access to their lands. Some people want to just make a fast route from Boulder to have lunch in Winter Park in their truck. It's scenic, and it's not faster than probably Berthoud. But it's probably the same speed and half the distance than Berthoud Pass.
Okay.
So they might want to just have lunch there and take their grandmother over the top. Another person might want to go up there and go hiking. Another person might want to go up there and hike off to the snowfield and go skiing. You can right now drive all the way, except for a few miles that connect. The connection is broken on the top. On both roads are closed, but not really closed. It's controversial whether it's closed or not.
Right. So here's my second question. So depending on who benefits from that, I've heard that attorneys will take jobs to make things happen and sue the federal government or whoever the constituents are that are stopping it if they fund it.
Well,
But it's
the
all
wording
kinds
of the
things.
federal law, I might as well read it now.
Right, the federal law, they allow it. I'm sorry, I used the wrong person, but do you see what I'm saying? It's like, if you guys want this to happen, I don't know who you guys is, but you can probably get someone to sue if you have the money to fund the litigation.
There's a lot of citizens who aren't as well organized as there's not a single powerful group because there's no huge economic gain for anybody.
Yeah.
It's
that makes it tougher.
basically a closure as we see happening in many places in the Front Range of roads that are into the back country. There is a philosophy that obviously we're living in a green age with carbon footprints and motor vehicles are somewhat demonized these days, but we all use them.
No, I hear you, but
Even bicycle riders.
If there's a violation of federal law, and you can go after that, if you have the money to do it.
That's right. And here's the next problem with that is that we're dealing with politics, and all three counties want to be nice to each other. None of the commissioners in Gilpin, Grand want to cause a lot of waves because they have to work with Boulder County commissioners. Thus, nothing's happened for over 20 years. And the citizens are getting fed up with it.
But
I'm
none
one
of,
of them.
none of the citizens have the economic.
Well, we have some money. The Rollins
Muscle.
Pass Restoration Association does have some money, but they were planning, they have 60,000 in their bank, and they were planning on using it for restoration of the tunnel. It would go real quick with legal fees.
Steve, who's complaining about keeping the road open?
Well, the main spokesperson would be Commissioner Perlman. Also, Christine Walsh in the Boulder Ranger District. She's the head of the Boulder supervisor, I believe, is her title. But Rick Cable's regional forester has basically not responded to the other counties when he's gotten letters. But Rick Cable's is a regional forester. He claims the road belongs to the federal government. He calls it the federal estate, and it's not the road; it's the road corridor that encompasses 2 roads. So this has been going a long time. 20 years, but it's been heating up in the last 2. It would be very fun, if fun had any value in this day and age, I think it does. It'd be a great route to go from here to Winter Park. It also gives access to areas up there that are historic, because these trains, as you saw, I mean, much of this is still here. This is chock full of Colorado history. These 3 historic photos. This train is in Golden right now. You can go see it at the Colorado Railroad Museum.
Where does that Boulder Wagon Trail start?
The Boulder Wagon Trail,
Again,
really the original road went up Jenny Creek. It started somewhere around Rollinsville or Netherlands, but it goes up Jenny Creek. It continued and went over the top and down to Hot Sulphur Springs. When Byers, who had a ranch in Hot Sulphur Springs, Byers was the owner of the Rocky Mountain News, I believe, or the editor, a long time ago in the 1800s, that would be the way they would go. Berthoud Pass did not exist. You went right over here. But he didn't make the road. The road, obviously, was a trail by Native American Indians prior to that. The Mormons used it to get to Salt Lake in the 1860s, and the Army Corps of Engineers improved it at that time, made it into a wagon road.
That's a separate road from the Rollins Pass?
They're intricately tied, but at this point they're separate. At the very top they're separate because the train has to maintain a low grade. And the road, a wagon road and a four-wheel drive road can take a considerably steeper route.
Okay.
But they do cross at the same path, and then they become one going down the Grand Lake. By the way, the Grand County is what I meant to say. Grand County maintains their section of the road all the way to the top, and the Forest Service allows it over there. But the Boulder Ranger District has not allowed any maintenance to occur, and in public meetings they've refused to allow maintenance, even inspections of the tunnel. It's been rather lack of cooperation.
What's your gut as to why they're doing it?
why they're.
My personal feeling is, it's obviously Boulder County has a,
What's Ben's beef?
you should ask him that. I believe Ben has, or Mr. Perlman obviously likes the thought of wilderness with no motor vehicles anywhere. Now there's a lot of wilderness up there. It goes for 20 miles on both sides of this little tiny 300-foot wide corridor. But it seems that Ben doesn't even want that 300-foot corridor to have a motor vehicle in it. But that was not, according to Mark Udall's assistant who wrote the law, that's Doug Young. He's a lawyer. You may know him. I think he lives in Boulder. Doug said, and I have the writing here in the emails, that the intention was to leave it open for the road to be through. To always have a road open, one or the other.
Maybe you can get some historical society to help back.
Oh, they're already backing it. Grand County Historical Society is, and the Rollins Pass Restoration Association.
And there's a railroad historic group as well, right?
But, well,
There's a historic railroad group. That's also
well, that would be the Rollins Pass.
Okay.
But Boulder County is very strong. They have more money than probably most counties in Colorado. And Grand County is a very small county. Gilpin County, I don't want to talk too much for the counties, but obviously their main concern is gaming. It seems like it when I've gone to meetings. But they do want it open. They have written, here's the letters from Grand and Gilpin, writing to the Secretary of Agriculture, requesting they open the road.
When were those letters done?
Well, I don't have them all, unfortunately. They've been writing letters as recently as this summer. And they extend back, I think they've got 3 letters each for like every 4 years. Somebody bothers them and they write another letter.
So since we're out of time, Steve, what's the best way to support your effort, learn more about it?
I would encourage, if you live in Boulder County, encourage your officials up here to see motorized usage as a legitimate use, and to see that this road or this road corridor was left in place for this use according to the law, the federal law, and that they should honor the agreement that they were privy to during the drafting stages. That's what I would encourage.
How would people get in touch with you?
With me? Steve G at dim.com. That would be